Hey everyone, Leo with the Dreaming Tree, and welcome to the assembly video for our mouse Christmas card. This is one of 6 new Christmas cards that I think you're going to love. This is very similar to a bundle that we released not that long ago that featured 6 cards that pretty much went together just like this one, where, well, you're just cutting out layers and putting layers together to come out with this end result here, a nice, beautiful, dimensional card that is going to go together very quickly. So let's get started here. Obviously, you're going to have all of your pieces cut out. We're going to start off, and basically, you probably don't even need to watch the video. In a nutshell, we're just kind of going from the solid piece here, and we're going to just start adding layers one at a time. And typically, the next layer in line has just a few things, and then the next one has a few things, and the next one has a little bit more, and so on and so forth. But just to be sure, I'm going to guide you through the assembly of all the cards. So we're going to start with that solid piece, that yellow one that you see on my table there, and then we're going to grab this piece. So just take a look at your pieces and just make sure you're grabbing the right one at the right time, and just go easy on the glue here. And all we're doing is just lining them up. Very, very simple. These are going to go together very, very quick. Now, because they're so simple, just make sure your number one goal is just make sure that you get everything aligned as accurately as possible. That's pretty much it. Okay, so this is the next layer. Take a look, make sure you've got the right one, and go ahead and apply your glue. Okay, now, when all said and done, I'm going to just add a few little embellishments to the face of the card. Nothing crazy. Probably, actually, I think just a couple pearls on the little area where we have room for a sentiment. But that's about it. Okay, so just get that next layer on there as accurately as you can. Okay. Here we go. Just make sure the sides are all lined up and that you're not obstructing any of the beautiful little design there. And then this is your next layer here. So just make sure you grab the right one. Probably going to be repeating that many times. Okay, so focus on the larger areas first here. And then you'll notice that there are some small details on this one. And what I would suggest doing is just using little dots of glue right here along this little present. Okay, just very simple, very thin amounts of glue. Don't overdo it because it will spill out, and you don't want to do that. Keep everything as aligned as possible. There we go. You're going to see I didn't even use that much, and a little bit of it spilled out, but it's okay. Just dab it before it sets, and then we won't have any problems, okay? So this is the next piece that we need. Flip it over. I'm using American Crafts cardstock. Of course, we tell you exactly which colors we use in the supply list. That's included in your download and is also located on the website under the supply list section when you look at the actual product page, so that you know what you need to get even before you order it. Okay, so now this little bow here, it's got a lot of little elements or a lot of little thin areas. So I'm going to put some glue on there, and I'm going to hit that with my finger to kind of thin it out so that it doesn't, it doesn't just squeeze out onto the card, or the other layers, I should say. Okay, you don't need a whole heck of a lot of glue. Just go easy. Okay. And then this is the next layer that you need. Okay, you can see our cute little mouse there. Let's get our glue on that. Now, I suppose if you're looking for an adventure and you're bold and brave, you can try using spray adhesive for this stuff. I personally don't like the spray adhesive. I feel like it's really toxic, and I don't like to breathe it in. It kind of gives me a headache sometimes when I use it, so I stay away from it. But you know, if you want to, it's always an option. Now these last few layers, they all have this little cutout where the present is. So I'm going to just dab that with my finger and thin it out so that it doesn't cross over onto the previous layer. Okay, there we go. And it's nice and thick. Beautiful dimension. Nice details. What more can you ask for? Nice simple card too. Anyone can do this. I think this one maybe again is maybe the most challenging because of those little areas. So if you're doing this with a child, maybe just kind of, you know, just tell them, hey, go easy on the glue there. And again, you know, do a few little dots. You don't need to get every single inch of it. As long as you have some glue in most of the areas, it should be okay. Okay, so let's get this last layer in place. Just make sure that you get that nice and centered. Here we go, just like that. Beautiful. Just press that down. And if you have any areas that maybe you missed, you can always go back in and kind of clean them up using a scrap piece of paper, and that came out perfect. Okay, so that is essentially the bulk of it. Okay, now one thing you'll notice, and I need to make sure I'm looking at the right spot, on the card itself, there are a few little dots. There's one dot here, one dot here, one dot here, and that corresponds to this point, and this point. And that is to help you get that in the correct spot on the card. Okay, so, and of course you want to look at it visually. Just make sure you have a nice even border here and here, and then up here it's roughly the same thing. It's going to be hard to kind of judge that, but as long as these two are, you know, match up with those little points, you know you've got it in the right spot. So we can take this whole thing now and glue it to the face of the card. Okay, now this one you can go a little bit heavier. You don't need a lot, but it's okay if you go a little bit heavier there. And again, just get it matched up with the tiny little dots there. Mostly you just want to use those as kind of a reference. They don't have to be spot on, just to kind of get you in the ballpark, basically. Okay, and that looks great. Press that down. Now we also have this little piece here. That is what you're going to put inside the card. So let's just do that real quick. Just throw a little bit of glue on there. And get that in place. This is where you're going to do your stamping or your writing. If you know how, you can do you can use your little pen tool. Have your machine write whatever you want to write. Okay, get that in place. That's it. Beautiful. Okay, and then we have this piece here. You'll notice there's kind of a little bump there. Well, a little divot, I should say. This piece is going to go on the top half of our little gold piece here. Looks like I have some remnants of maybe some glue from the mat, so I'll get rid of that by just kind of rubbing it off. I'm using gold foil there. Throw a little bit of glue on this piece, and then you just want to align it with the top half of this section here. If you accidentally align it with the bottom half, it's okay. You just flip it over, so it's not a big deal. There we go. And now because this thing, the main design, has a lot of dimension to it, maybe a good idea to flip this over and just put maybe 3 foam squares on this to bring it up and elevate it ever so slightly so that it kind of is on the same plane as the actual design itself. Okay, that looks great. And I'm going to just kind of center that. We don't have any guides for this, so do your best to get it centered horizontally, and then also try to keep a nice even border, or a nice kind of an equal gap between the bottom and the top. Now mine is slightly off. Luckily with foam squares, no harm, no foul. You can pull it off as long as you don't push down too hard. And get that nice and centered. There we go. That looks more like it. Just press that down, and we have our beautiful card. How quick was that? Okay. All right, so, and just like every other card from Dreaming Tree, we have a coordinating envelope to go along with it. So what I'm going to do, we have this piece here that we're going to glue to the back of the top flap. And so what I would suggest doing is, well, we can actually, what we're going to do is going to put glue around the little holly here. Okay, but then we're just going to put glue around the perimeter of this piece, because we don't know exactly, if we were just to put glue on this, we wouldn't really exactly know where to put the glue in this area. So we're kind of doing it like this. Just pop that into place, and that way we avoid getting any glue showing up through this little cutout here. Okay, and then finally bring in the two side flaps. Throw a little bit of glue along the inner edge here of flap 1 and flap 2. And then just fold that up, press down. There we go. Okay, so there is our envelope. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to take a couple, actually 3 rhinestones, and I'm just going to put one here in the center, and then one and another one to the left and right of that center one to kind of create the little berries there. So grab some bling that out. I would probably wait a little bit longer for the envelope to dry. I just want to show you how nicely it fits beautifully, and that's it. So that is it for our little mouse card. Hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will see you at the next one. Hey, thanks for crafting along with me. Hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, check out some of our other videos, and also please consider hitting that subscribe button. And don't forget to visit our site and check out our free SVG section, where we have over 140 free SVG files complete with assembly videos. I look forward to crafting with you soon.